Well, I'm never leaving my house ever again. Baby Reindeer is a new show on Netflix. My best friend Priscilla sent me a TikTok talking about how underrated this show is, so I thought I would check it out. I mean, it has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's got to be worth watching, right? Plus, I don't know if anyone else does this, but whenever I find like a show or movie I'm interested in, I always look at the cast, the director, the writer, and I looked at Richard Gadd's IMDb and saw that he wrote for Sex Education. Love that show. So I decided to check out Baby Reindeer, and oh my god, Baby Reindeer is incredible. Everything from the writing, performances, cinematography, like, I don't know if this is the right word to use, but I'm obsessed and I want to talk about it. Disclaimer as usual, these are just my opinions. Feel free to comment yours, just remember to be respectful. Also, before I start, I would just like to say that I will be talking a lot about the show in detail, and the show has a lot of heavy topics. Not only is this a spoiler warning, it's also a trigger warning. Okay, let's get into it. Created by and starring Richard Gadd, Baby Reindeer is based on his real-life experiences of having a stalker and facing past trauma. Richard plays Donny, an aspiring comedian who is working at a pub. One day, a woman named Martha enters the pub and starts crying. In an act of kindness and empathy, Donny offers her a cup of tea. This one act becomes a canon event in Donny's life. Martha shows up every single day, claiming her free Diet Coke and spewing lies out of her mouth. She says that she's a very successful lawyer, she's met all these famous people, etc., etc. But she can't even afford to buy herself a drink. She just spends her days complimenting Donny at the bar, chatting away, and calling him Baby Reindeer. Donny is put off by her, but feels at ease by her compliments. But then Donny Googles her and finds out that she is a convicted stalker who spent 4 years in prison. But weirdly, Donny starts humoring her, and these interactions spiral into greater ones. She finds his email and emails him countless times a day. She shows up at his comedy shows. She follows him home. She beats up his maybe girlfriend. She sends threats to his parents. But throughout it all, Donny finds the humanity in her. I think the part that scares me the most about this is knowing that it's a true story. Like, holy shit. The writing is just incredible. I don't know how else to describe it. It's so honest and incredible and beautifully executed. Yes, it's a stalker story, but it's so much more than just that. It's a story of trauma, confusion, and self-destruction. I always believe that comedies are actually the most tragic. There's a certain type of comedy show that I'm obsessed with, like I May Destroy You, Fleabag, The Bear, BoJack Horseman. Now I'm adding Baby Reindeer to the list. The humor is used to balance out the weight of the subject matters, and oh god, there is a lot of weight to them. In episodes 1, 2, and 3, we see Martha get worse and worse to Donny and the people in his life. We as the audience wonder, why didn't Donny go to the police sooner? Why did it take him 6 months to report it? Why didn't he mention all the horrible things she did? And he is wondering the exact same thing too. But then Episode 4 happens. It's a flashback episode where we see Donny under the wing of a hotshot comedy writer named Darrien. Darrien completely takes advantage of Donny by spoon-feeding him drugs and with what Donny wants to hear, compliments. This episode is horrible. I don't mean the quality, the writing is incredible as usual, but it's horrible because of what Darrien does to Donny, and because of how unfiltered it is, and because of how terrifying the subject matter is. After that episode, Donny's behavior begins to make sense. I really loved how the show dives straight into how the abuse made him have so many crises. Crisis number 1, his sexuality. He begins to have dangerous sex with anyone to try to make sense of his own sexuality. He does fall for a woman named Teri, but after all the abuse he went through, he is terrified of being judged or vulnerable. And there was a line that truly broke my heart that I'll insert here. Crisis number 2, his career. He experienced a lot of lows in his comedy career. He had a high once with Darrien, but that's over. He has a breakdown on stage, which, oddly enough, sets his career on a trajectory. But this high also doesn't last for very long. Because of crisis number 3, Martha. she just never goes away. She's had so much experience stalking, so she's a pro at this. She becomes determined to ruin his life in various ways, but still claims that she loves him. There are a lot more crises happening, of course, but I want to talk about the characters more and dive into how well they were written. Let's start with our protagonist, Donny. Baby Reindeer is a story about how a man becomes a victim and then his own problem. Donny is never painted as being a 100% innocent victim or a 100% empowered survivor. Because of his trauma, he's made loads of mistakes along the way that ruins his own relationships with people and indulges Martha. And that's because Donny is caught in a cycle of self-destruction. He's trying to process the traumatic events in his life while also trying to move on, while also trying to pursue his dreams. The abuse that he faced changes the way he approaches and sees the world, and as we see in the end, it sends him right back to the cycle. I always found that topic really interesting, how someone who has been through hell and back can become hell to themselves. And I think I always found that topic interesting because I have also experienced that cycle. Without giving too much away about my personal life, I resonated so much with how this character was feeling. The thoughts he had while trying to figure himself out and make sense of what happened to him. Richard had the courage to be so freaking honest, and I just want to say thank you so much. I am currently going through a processing period of things that have happened to me, and this character put everything I was feeling into words. Actually, let me rephrase that. Richard put everything I was feeling into words. So, thank you, Richard. Sent from my iPhone. I am terrified of this woman, absolutely terrified, but my heart just broke for her. Jessica is brilliant, like absolutely fucking brilliant. She was able to make this character a monster, but sympathetic at times, and I don't understand how she did it so flawlessly. One minute her face is breaking, almost like a child, and next she's a ferocious monster. Like, it's so heartbreaking and absolutely terrifying at the same time. I like how we didn't see any flashbacks about her, because frankly I wouldn't like to see any from her, but we still felt the weight of her past and emotions through her verbal descriptions. Like her upbringing, why she calls Donny Baby Reindeer, how she's truly feeling in this cruel world, alone. The voicemails were absolutely heartbreaking, but terrifying. Sorry, I keep repeating that, but I don't know what other words to use. Like, I guess I'm still trying to process that she is an actual woman who did these actual things to Richard. Holy shit, I'm never talking to anyone ever again. Teri is the love interest of the show. Donny meets her on a trans dating site where he faked his identity and occupation. Teri's occupation is a therapist, so she has mad patience with Donny, even though he treated her very badly. Teri also acts as the voice of reason in this show. Even though her and Donny hit it off, she's always quick to call him out on what's going on. I loved her, and my heart broke for her as well. My heart broke for everyone, man. Like, even the fucking bartender at the end. I felt for all these characters, even the horrible ones, except for him. Fuck this guy. I loved the cinematography. I felt like it was kind of shot like a horror movie because, well, at times it definitely felt like one. The character moved as fast as Donny was thinking or feeling. At times, the camera was also way too close to the characters, especially to Donny, but I love that. It felt like we were invading his personal space, which, one, is exactly what Martha was doing, and two, in a way, we as the audience are doing that too. By seeing such a raw and unfiltered version of Donny, we are truly in his personal space. The score is also incredible, and I also love the pacing and editing of the show. I was able to sit and binge this show in a day. Maybe it's because the runtime was only like 25 to 30 minutes an episode, but I haven't done that in a while. This show kept me engaged from beginning to end. I'm shocked that more people aren't talking about this show. From what I can see, it hasn't really been advertised as much as other Netflix projects, but it seems to be gaining more and more popularity through word of mouth, which, in my opinion, is the best kind of advertising. In conclusion, Baby Reindeer is truly incredible. It's such an honest, heartbreaking, intimate, and utterly brutal examination of humans. While watching this, you'll feel devastated, but it's also just being real. These are stories about real people in this world, real people that maybe you and I could encounter, or encounter people like them. This is a story about decency. As we saw in the very beginning, Donny was only being kind to Martha, and he thought Darrien was being kind to him. But over time, his views on the world begin to change and destroy his mental health. The idea of decency becomes so far removed from what it once was. But Baby Reindeer is also a story about hope, about how about how Richard is learning to hope again. I'm gonna put some resources here for anyone who needs it. There is always help available, and you are so, so loved. Thank you so much for watching. Again, these are just my opinions. Feel free to comment yours, just remember to be respectful. Massive thank you to Richard for creating this show, for being so brave, and for still being here today. Shows like this make me want to pursue my dreams in this industry, to hopefully one day write something as incredible as this. Please go check it out, guys. So, yeah, subscribe if you want. Have a great day. Bye.